Came through there. What's the first thing you said?
Show us how to do saran wrap.
Does it sound like that teacher? Like, let me show you how. Well, the thing is, the next thing is going to be even more complicated than the thing that I just requested. How many of you did the homework assignment? Okay. If you can imagine how difficult saran wrap or plastic wrap is, the next thing is going to be even harder. Now, in that tape, when we were discussing the tape, you heard the kids say, the teacher said, wait, let me show you how. And eventually the kid got to the point where he was waiting for them to show them how. So I could teach you how to paint saran wrap over a pear on a plate. But the problem is, next week I'm going to give you another homework assignment, and it's going to be harder than this week's homework assignment. And so me showing you how to do saran wrap isn't going to teach you how to do the next homework assignment. Ultimately, you've got to learn yourself how to look at objects and shapes and forms and color and be able to manipulate that. I don't have enough years in my life to paint everything that I see. And most of my classes, I paint things with you guys that I have never painted myself. But I've developed a way of looking at things in a very simple manner of asking yourself, paint what you see. And this is an old thing that if you take the Power to Create class, we pound it into you, Mrs. Gugalinski. Mrs. Gugalinski, yes, she does exist, master painter, and I went to her as a young boy just wanting to get the fruits from a very old tree, thinking they were sweeter than anything that I could have. And all she had to offer was paint what you see. And I went and spent 2 days with her, and that's all I got, is paint what you see. So for you to learn to paint cellophane, that's great. You'll probably never paint cellophane ever again the rest of your life. You've gone this far with never painting it, you probably never will again. So it really isn't vital to do that. Why do I give you homework assignments? Is because I want you to go home and ask yourself, so what does that look like? What is it that I'm actually seeing? And surprisingly, the people in my classes that have done this homework assignment, the students that haven't been painting for very long do a better job than the students who have been in my classes for years. And I think a lot of that is because they are looking for a technique, a manner, a way of painting that. There must be a trick of some kind, where beginning students go, oh shit, what does that look like, you know? And so they're really paying attention to the subject matter. They really are tuning in to looking at that. One of the questions I get from a lot of beginning students, they go, how do you paint transparent glass, like a glass of water? How do you paint a glass? And I look at them and I go, what color is the glass? Wouldn't that make a big difference? Now I could show you how to paint a clear glass, but that doesn't help you with painting a burgundy glass or a pink glass or a yellow glass. Those are all different things. And everything you need to learn how to paint is right there in front of you. You don't need me to teach you how to see. I mean, I come in and tell you more paint, less paint, come up with a better idea. I teach you eye magnets. I teach you central focal points. But it's futile for me to teach you to see something that is right there in front of you. That is something that you need to do on your own. And there are teachers, there's processes out there that you can get on YouTube that will literally show you how to put paint on your fingernail and hold it up with one eye and recreate exactly the color of what's in front of you. And they will work 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. Every little dot on an apple or a pear on a glass or on a piece of silver. they will mimic. And you know what? The results are fabulous. They can recreate what's in front of them unbelievably. But is that art? Or is that just kind of a fancy early Xerox machine? Is it?
Kind of art. It's a different kind of art.
It's more of a craft. Okay? You know, it's more of a craft. It is art.
But it impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you think about setting up a still life that's perfect, that's artistic. And we can talk about that some. How do you set up a still life? But if it's perfectly in front of you and you sit down and perfectly recreate it, you're kind of almost like a camera recreating the subject matter, almost as if you're copying from a picture.
It's impressive.
It is impressive. It's beautiful. But is it expression? Is it artistic? Is it different? Because when you look at a room of these paintings, you can't tell them apart from every other artist. It looks like a room full of people studying painting just like that. Okay? So if you know, make a gray using two colors and Kathy makes a gray using two colors, you both can come up with the same gray. Because you need to duplicate the gray that's in the picture in front of you. And when you sit there and you get it just right, you put that little square inch, that little quarter-inch spot there. You've recreated it step by step by step. But there's no passion in it. There's no eye magnets. There's no, like, aha. You really have to rely on having a good lamp, a good table, good stuff to paint. You know, a lot of that is more important than the artistic. What about imagining making a still life, grabbing a bunch of objects that has no light, just sitting there on the table, and create something out of that? Oftentimes when I have students that come to class and they go, I don't know what I want to paint, I'll go, here, paint this. And they go, it's just a glass, a paper cup with a straw in it. And I go, yeah, make something out of that. And you know, for a lot of students who have been painting for years, that's the best exercise right there. To take nothing and make something out of it, then take something that's glorious and just reproduce that. But taking nothing and making it extraordinary, that's really awesome. In fact, when we go to the museums, we marvel at the sergeants because there he takes satin and he looks at it in a certain way and says, it needs to look like this. And you sit there and I go, oh no, that can't look like that. But when you step back, it looks like satin. It's really amazing. But if you sat there going, satin, especially on those big paintings, satin, oh no. You know, that could be very tedious. We like that creative energy. There's something about seeing an artist jump across the room and go, pow. In fact, a lot of you wait for me to come by because you'll be almost done with your painting and you'll go, oh, I know he's going to come around and do something, right? And oftentimes, a lot of your paintings are really, really good, but you expect me to do something. So then I have to say, okay, how can I go with the next step? And so I need to, like, and that's what I mean. Oftentimes I learn from you guys. You know, I learn how to do that. But the main thing, getting off track here, is painting what you see. How do you paint cellophane? It's right there in front of you. It's like if you go back and forth and look at it. Some of you think cellophane's a color. It's not. It's transparent. It lays over each other, and usually where it does, there's reflection. And usually it's reflections from lights in the room. If you learn to see the different reflections, if you learn to see where it's transparent, it's a lot easier. Some of you who painted cellophane made it too complicated. For heaven's sakes, you've never painted cellophane before. And here you're crumpling it up and putting like that. Wouldn't it have made more sense to say, you know, be reasonable. I'm just going to put a pear on a plate, because that was the request, and I'm just going to lightly lay over a piece of cellophane so that it just has a little stretch to it. Okay? Then it's pretty much transparent. You paint the pear and put a little bit of highlight on the top of it. Some of you just take it and you'll know from the next homework assignment, make it simple until you figure it out.